Essay 24. McMeditate. Interested? That was the text I got from my wife, along with a web link to a beginner's meditation class that our local Parks and Recreation branch was hosting. I read all about the benefits of meditation on the class website. Clearer thinking and less emotional turmoil, lower blood pressure, greater intimacy with friends and family members, and a deep sense of meaning and purpose. But was it for me? I couldn't think of one person in my family who meditated, and so I looked at the idea with a mixture of suspicion and interest.
Believe me, it will be good for you. You need this,
I was told by my better half. I didn't need much convincing. I had felt woefully unbalanced the last few months, as I had attempted to absorb an ocean of information that came with taking on a new job. My mind often wandered upstairs to fuss over bottomless inboxes in my home office as I was sitting downstairs at the family dinner table. I was months behind where I should have been in my new writing project. If the lobes of my brain were canned cling peaches, any creative spark would have been drowned in the syrupy sludge of deadlines and commitments before it connected to the gray matter. Maybe this would be just what the doctor ordered, I tried to tell myself. Nah, I should have known that my brain on Shamrocks would have none of it. For those of you unfamiliar with the affliction, I submit a brief explanation. We all have that little voice inside our head that judges, assesses, and guides us through life. Some call it a conscience. If you are of Irish descent, that inner voice has a brogue that sounds remarkably like one or both of your parents. The drumbeat of blood coursing through my tense veins began to quiet a bit as we drove through Monmouth County's majestic horse farms en route to the recreation center. A wispy woman in wrinkled hemp clothing had dimmed the lights of the room before lighting candles and incense to create the right environment. The brain on Shamrocks went into overdrive once it got the first whiff of pungent incense. Jesus, what kind of hippy-trippy nonsense have you gotten yourselves into? A voice sounding remarkably like my father's whispered in my ear. What's next? Shaving your head and passing out the feckin' prayer cards in airports for the love of God. Incense, remember that smell, remarked a voice that sounded just like my mom's in my other ear. You first smelled that in a church. In a church? A Catholic one, might I add? One that looks remarkably like the one you drove past to get here. I'll be quiet now, and let's hear what your one says over there and what she's selling. I squinted my eyes hard as the instructor encouraged us to focus on the internal thoughts on an image of a silver garbage can on a hill. She asked us in slow, pulse-reducing tones to tilt our heads to the right, shaking any thoughts we had into the garbage can so that we could clear our minds. That worked for a little while. I could feel the tension lift from the base of my neck and shoulders. Then the instructor had to open her big, fat trap and reveal how long stretches of meditation can get us in touch with our soul at the level of self, which allows for a new access to the mysteries of our spirituality. That wasn't my stomach growling. That was my mother's voice grumbling in the other ear. Access to the mystery of spirituality. Did you hear that? She said incredulously. I'll tell you where you find the mysteries you're looking for. In the decades of the rosary. Joyful, sorrowful, they're all in the beads, love. You'd remember that if you darkened the door of a church once in a while. The Lord save us and guard us.
You can put yourself in that special place any time you want. There are plenty of meditation apps on your phone that can help. They play nature sounds like the wind blowing that can really help refresh your soul.
That's the sound of wasted money whistling through the old trees, my father's voice snickered in my ear. My mother's voice giggled in the other.
Your soul benefits from this singular focus on the present,
whispered the instructor as we closed our eyes for another round.
Focus on the here and now. Right now.
"Yer I could have told you that," my dad's voice whispered in disgust. "You'd be better off focusing on the present. Any Egypt knows that. There's incredible healing powers when you take a roller full of paint and go back and forth on those scuffed walls at home. Sure, 'twould be a better use of your time on a Sunday than this nonsense." The class ended, and my wife and I strode hand in hand into the brilliant sunshine.
I feel like a new woman,
my wife sighed. "Good for you," I mumbled back. According to endocrinologist and self-help author Eckhart Tolle, compulsive thinking has become a collective disease. My wife was cured right away, but it took me some time to beat back the brain on Shamrocks to get a little peace and quiet. Being able to meditate was akin to working a muscle until it bulged past the skin level, but eventually I got the hang of it. When I went for a massage recently, the masseuse remarked on the decreased knots on my back and my neck, proof that my diligence was beginning to pay off. My wife needed nothing more than a foam yoga mat, which she purchased at a discount department store to start on her meditation journey, but I needed heavier equipment. When the credit card bill came, I had to explain away why I had purchased a $250 pair of noise-canceling headphones. "Deep breaths, honey," I said sheepishly as she inspected the bill. "Namaste."